Welcome to Maker Model College online tutorial. We hope at the end of this lesson, you will have acquired the expected learning outcome. Sit down and listen attentively as we introduce your subject teacher.
Welcome to another English class. I remain Mrs. Aminu Rukayat. Our topic is functions of noun. As we are usually taught, noun is the name of person, animal, place, or thing. Now, this noun function has a different way that it works in a sentence. Now, what are the ways that noun function in a sentence? The meaning of this function means the work that a noun does in a sentence. It refers to as its function. And noun functions differently in a sentence. At times, a noun can function as a subject of a verb. It functions as object of a verb. It can also function as a complement of a verb, as an object of a preposition, and it can also be in apposition to another noun. Having known all these functions of noun, then we shall be taking them one after the other. Let us see how it functions as the subject of a verb, as an object of a verb, as a complement of a verb, and as an object of a preposition. And how can a noun be in apposition to another noun? Subject of a verb. A noun will function as the subject of the sentence when it is the subject of the sentence. Listen to me. A noun will function as the subject of a verb when it is the subject of that sentence. It is the subject of the sentence because it comes before a verb in a sentence. It is the subject of a sentence because it is the doer of an action. In every sentence, we have the doer of an action, which is the subject, and we have the action word, which is the verb. So for a noun to function as the subject of a verb, it must begin a sentence. It usually begins what? A sentence. For example, let us take a look at the following example. And this will help us to know how it functions very well as what? Subject of a verb. A. Stacy killed a snake last night. B. John teaches English in China. The third one, children can be very naughty sometimes. Then last example, Obama was voted president. All the highlighted words in this sentence are all nouns. How do they function as a subject of the verb? If you take a close look at it, Stacy, John, children, and Obama are all what? Subjects of the verb. The verbs are killed, teaches, can, was. So all these verbs are action words. And the fact that Stacy, John, children, Obama are nouns, they begin the sentence. That means they are the doer of their action. Therefore, they are nouns functioning as the subject of the verb in that sentence. Because one, they are performing an action, and again, they begin an action and they come before what? The verb in that sentence. Then secondly, the second function of a noun in a sentence is object of a verb. A noun functions as an object of a verb when it comes after an action and receives the action of the verb. Remember, we said in the first one that the subject is the doer of an action, while in this case the object is the receiver of an action. It receives the action from the subject in the sentence. Now let us take a close look at the examples we have. Tom slapped Jerry. B. I kicked the ball. C. I hate Janet. And D. The teacher punished the students. All the underlined words are also what? Noun. Don't forget we are dealing with noun, but functioning in different ways. All the underlined words are nouns. But in this case, Jerry, Paul, Janet, and students are all what? Objects. They are objects because they receive an action from what? Subjects. In this sentence, the verbs are slapped, kicked, hate, punished. Don't forget, in your JSS theory, you were taught what? Verb. And you were told that verbs are doing words, action words. So, slapped, kicked, hate, and punished are all the what? Action words in that sentence. Therefore, all the underlined words are the objects receiving the action from their subject. That is how a noun functions as an object of a verb when it comes after a verb. Now let us look at the third function of a noun in a sentence. The third one is complement of a verb. How does it function as a complement of a verb? A noun functions as a complement of a verb when it comes after a linking verb or a state of being verb. I call it again a state of being verb and receive no action from their verb. My dear students, I want you to understand this. There are some textbooks that will give you a different name for this. Don't be confused. They are still the same thing. Some textbooks will give you subject complements, while some will give you complements of a verb. They are the same. Don't get confused. Now, how does it function as a complement of a verb? When the noun comes immediately after a linking verb. And these linking verbs are is, am, was, were, are, be, been, and being. All these are what? Linking verbs. So when this noun comes after this linking verb, and it helps us to define the what? The former noun. The latter noun helps to define the what? The former noun. Therefore, you see that it is what? Subject complement or complement of a verb. Examples: the man is a trader. Trader there is what? Is underlined. It is a noun, but it helps to define what? The first noun, which is what? Man. I believe we are following. Then the second example is I was a teacher while living in Benin. Teacher there tells us about who? I. That is I, the first noun there. So you can see that the latter noun gives us the definition of the former noun. And we have the linking verb there, is in the first sentence and was in the second sentence. The third example is John is the winner. Winner also helps to define who? John. The last example is our friends from Germany were the losers. Losers also help to define what? Our friends. So all these are complements of the linking verb we have in the sentences. Is, was, is, and what, were are linking verbs. And the underlined words helps to define the other noun in the sentence. Let us look at another function of a noun in the sentence. Object of what? A preposition. A noun functions as the object of a preposition. How do we know that it functions as the object of a preposition? When a noun functions as the object of a preposition, it comes after a preposition in a sentence. You were also taught preposition in your JSS 3. And you were told that preposition shows the relationship between a noun or a pronoun in a sentence with another noun or pronoun in that same sentence. Or a preposition shows the relationship between what? A part of a sentence and another part of a sentence. So the following examples will help us to know very well how a noun functions as a preposition in a sentence. Let us go with John. John is the noun there. Now, what is the preposition? The preposition in that example is what? With. It's showing what? A connection. Are we following? Alright. The second example is I trust in God. God is the noun there. Don't forget we are talking about what? Noun. God is the noun in that sentence. And the preposition is in. The third example, I interceded for the boy. The boy is underlined in that sentence. Therefore, it is what? The noun. And the preposition is what? For. Then the last one, teacher. I have to give it to the teacher. Teacher is the noun there. And it is coming after a preposition, to. Teacher comes after the preposition to. So all these nouns come after what? A preposition. Therefore, they are what? Objects of a preposition because they come immediately after a preposition. Now, let us look at the last function of a noun. Noun being in apposition to another noun. What is apposition? That is the question right now. The word apposition means putting a noun next to another noun to explain it. Apposition means what? Putting a noun next to another noun to explain it. What is it explaining? It is explaining the former noun. And whenever you see a noun next to another noun in a sentence, it means apposition. It helps to explain the first noun in that sense. It can as well replace the first noun in that sentence. Let us consider the following examples. One, the footballer Suarez has been suspended. In this example, we have footballer and we have Suarez. Suarez can as well replace footballer. Now let me quickly take you back to our first topic, proper noun and what? Common noun. This is a perfect example of what? Common and proper noun. Footballer there is what? A general name, while Suarez is what? A specific name. In this example, we have what? A proper noun and we have a common noun. Footballer is the common noun and Suarez is what? A proper noun. So we can see that Suarez can replace the name footballer in that sentence. Therefore, Suarez is placed next to footballer. A noun that is placed next to another noun is known as what? Apposition. Are we getting it? Then the second example is this. The nurse Janet has retired. Janet is next to nurse. So Janet can replace nurse in that sentence. Therefore, Janet is what? In apposition to the noun nurse. Let us look at another example. His book, Animal Farm, is considered one of the greatest books ever written. Animal Farm there is on the line. Therefore, it is a noun. And it is in apposition to another noun, book. So, Animal Farm can as well replace the noun, book. So, whenever these nouns are placed next to another, you should know that they are in apposition. Then the last example is my country, Nigeria, is peaceful. My country, Nigeria, is peaceful. Nigeria is the noun in that sentence. Country is another noun. Nigeria is placed side with country. Therefore, it is in apposition with the noun country. So all these are the functions of noun in a sentence. Having listened, I believe that having listened to me from the beginning of the lesson to the end of this lesson, you have an idea of how a noun can function in a sentence. Now, we told you that noun functions are the subject of a sentence when it performs the function in the sentence. It functions as the subject of a verb. That is when the subject is the doer of the action when it begins a sentence and when it comes before the verb. It functions as an object of a verb when it receives the action performed by the subject. It functions as complement of a verb when it comes after what? A linking verb and receives no action from the verb. Do not forget, linking verbs are is, are, am, be, were, was, been, and being. So all these are linking verbs. And when a verb, a noun comes after all these verbs, they are referred to as what? Complement of a verb or subject's complement, because they help to define the noun, the subject in that sentence. It can also function as the object of a preposition when it comes after a preposition in a sentence. A preposition are those words that shows the relationship between one part of a sentence and another part of that same sentence. Finally, it functions as opposition to another noun when it is put next to another noun. When a noun is put next to another noun, the latter one adds to what? Give information about the former noun. Thank you. When we meet next time, we shall be discussing other things in English.